Hello and welcome to all of our beautiful and amazing viewers at the 214 Sports Show. We are delighted for you to spend your Thursday morning or whenever you're watching this with us. We got an exciting show. We have Raymond Gorvie joining us. We all met at UT, all of us together. He's from the DFW area. We'd like to have him on the show, and unfortunately, though, we don't agree on NFL teams, even though we're from the same area, same region of the country. Raymond over here is a big, big Packers fan, so we decided to have him on, and we appreciate you coming on, Raymond. How are you doing?
Of course, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Anytime it's a feel good moment any time of year when the Packers have another opportunity to beat up on the Cowboys again. So
Especially at
If
always
if
AT&T
fun.
Stadium, man. It's brutal.
Yeah.
Ray, if you don't mind, just briefly explain how you ended up being a fan of the Green Bay Packers, being from the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
So yeah, well, when it comes to all my sports teams, none of my parents have no affiliation to Texas, and my dad's from Africa, and my mom's from South Florida, actually. So I kind of just had my pickles with teams. My grandfather, one of his favorite players was Charles Woodson,
Mm,
and Charles Woodson became my favorite player. And at that time, he was on the Packers, so that's how that fandom pretty much started.
yeah.
Yeah, I got it, man. Just wish that you were on the good side of NFL football, but I understand, man. I understand. Um, we'll get to some important questions about this Packers Cowboys game in a little bit. I do want to say that this is episode 86 of the 214 Sports Show. This is the Butch Johnson episode, wide receiver for the Cowboys back in the 70s, won a Super Bowl with Roger Staubach. We're really thinning out on players and numbers coming up.
Time is ticking.
Time is really
Boy.
ticking. It is of the essence for sure. Um, but yeah, I'm TJ Krilowicz, joined alongside my co-host as always, Joseph Duffey. We're excited for you to join in. Before we get into Cowboys Packers, real quick, on today's date of Dallas sports history, September 25th, 2016, the Dallas Cowboys moved to 2-1. As you all remember, this is Zeke's and Dak's rookie year. They moved to 2-1 with a 31-17 victory against, oh, look who it is, the Chicago Bears at AT&T Stadium. Dak went 19 for 24 on 248 yards and one touchdown. Believe it or not, this was his first NFL passing touchdown in his third game. He had a rushing touchdown as well. Zeke helped with 140 yards on the ground on 30 carries. Um, Also, Des Bryant was the guy who caught the touchdown for Dak Prescott's first passing touchdown in his career. The other three, again, were rushing touchdowns. One from Dak. Two other running backs got the touchdowns, not Zeke. Joe, I really hope. Yeah, I just want to ask you real quick. Can you name one of the two running backs that scored a touchdown for the Cowboys in this game?
Oh my
Despite Zeke
gosh.
having 30 carries, then did not have a single tutty.
Oh no. This is
You got
gonna
to know this.
expose me.
You got to know
This is
this.
almost 10 years ago.
Yeah, yeah. But this is a
Oh,
memorable year.
it was a
Not for the
memorable year.
playoffs.
Why am I forgetting this? Oh my
Oh
God.
man. One of them was a veteran. The other one was a cowboy for a pretty decent long time. I don't know where he went afterwards.
It's one of them, Joseph something. Am I forgetting his name?
Mm-mm.
Not
Mm-mm.
just, that's too early 2010s.
Mm-mm.
Oh my goodness. I feel terrible right now. I'm,
Uh,
I'm getting exposed. I know this roster. I just can't remember who would score though. One of them was a veteran. Oh my God.
he
I,
played a
I
Running
little.
back position?
Raymond, do you have a guess?
Is this running back position?
Yeah, running back.
Ooh.
2016 Cowboys without Zeke. I don't know how to
oh
give a
my
clue out
God.
because one of them has a first.
Oh, is this okay? Wait, so was this the year that Zeke was suspended those couple games?
No,
No, no.
that was a second year.
The
Okay,
second
so
year?
one of
Can
their
I go
initials is
Alfred?
A.
Alfred?
Alfred Morris. Hey, there you go, man.
Oh,
There you
yeah.
go. One of them was Alfred Morris, who got a touchdown. The other one was Lance Dunbar.
Oh my God.
Ah,
I thought
Yeah.
Dunbar was gone by then. Never mind.
Still on the squad. I just can't believe that that was Dak's first passing touchdown. 3 games in. Now he's
Yeah.
somebody who tries to average at least two touchdowns a game now in his past couple years, past couple seasons. But anyways, let's get right into the Cowboys Packers. We're just gonna skip the Chicago Bears game. We're just gonna act like that game did not happen. That game Mm-mm. Don't know what happened. Caleb Williams did not look like a Pro Bowler against us. That did not happen.
I love when my receivers get carries out of the backfield. Yeah, love that.
Yeah, yeah. That's that was a quite unfortunate part of the game for sure. Now they're going into Green Bay on Sunday night at AT&T Stadium without their top wide receiver, potentially for a month or two now with his injury against Chicago. But before we talk about the game, I wanted to talk about a little bit of the pregame talk that's been happening from both sides. Of course, the big spotlight is on Micah Parsons, who we both agreed shouldn't have been traded, but unfortunately, here we are now. He's now on Raymond's team, and but Jerry Jones was saying in this press conference a couple days ago that he was not planning a Micah Parsons tribute. And I don't know if Micah's responded to that specifically. I know that Micah has spoken recently and said that it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt him so bad to sack Dak Prescott. It's but got the pain in the chest there when he said that. But yeah, I mean, I just want to hear y'all's thoughts on maybe Jerry Jones not planning a Micah tribute, maybe what Micah's gonna do this game, if you guys think it's gonna be a revenge game or if he's gonna, kind of simmer out like he usually does in the playoffs or something like that.
You good, Ray?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I'm always not. I'm not the biggest fan of. Like, I agree with Jerry on the aspect of not giving them a tribute. I mean, Micah really didn't. Cowboys as a whole didn't really achieve anything, and it's not like he was there for 10 plus years going like. So that part, I don't. I wasn't expecting um a tribute. I don't know how Cowboys fans feel from that aspect, but I wasn't expecting
We're
that. As
good.
far as the game, I think. I think for Micah, he's just approaching this as just another game. He's really stepped up and been a leader in our locker room since coming in. So, last week a bunch of our players put out a bunch of quotes, and then like Rasheed Walker coming out there saying we're going to go undefeated, and then next thing you know, he's turning around telling Jordan Love to run. So, run for your life, Jordan. So.
That's a funny
I,
play.
I think that Matt LaFleur came out and talked about the team getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. So I think this is a week for us that we regroup and go back to playing the Green Bay Packers football that I know that we can play, especially with this team and this roster.
I
Yeah,
think,
you go
yeah,
ahead.
go ahead. I think we've grown accustomed to everybody getting a tribute when they return in sports. You've been seeing guys recently, especially in the
Role players.
NBA, yeah, role players, guys coming
Yeah.
back after playing, a couple of seasons, getting, the video screen tribute, looking up from the bench. I'm like, I mean, this guy didn't play here for that long, but
Yeah.
it feels a little odd though with Micah Parsons being an all-pro player, it's not getting a tribute. But like what Ray was saying, this team didn't accomplish much even when he was here. Still no conference championship appearance in our lifetime since the late 90s. In the grand scheme of the thing, football is still a team sport. And at the end of the day, he had great individual success, but the team didn't go anywhere still. So I think that so far leading into this game, it seems like with all these quotes recently, he's been really downplaying it. I'm just sitting here wondering, where's the podcast? He was popping them out like hotcakes when he was a Dallas Cowboy. I don't know if there's something in his contract since getting signed to Green Bay that he can't do like any more social media stuff. Because that was really what was bothering a lot of Cowboys fans. The fact he wasn't all in, it seemed like, and that he was just not worried about the game as much as he should. And he goes to Green Bay saying, I like how they're so focused on the game here. It's not all the extracurricular stuff. Well, I
Ain't
mean,
nothing to
there's
do.
some things you were doing, Micah, that you were kind of part of that extracurricular thing, and I haven't seen a podcast since. And nobody wants to hear that going towards Micah's way, but there's no podcast right now. I think he's just scaled it back and focused more on the game, which is good for him, and it's great for the Packers fan base because he is locked in. And I find it funny that he's probably going to be unleashed in this game for the first time. No more limited reps. I bet you told him that, this is the game I want you to unleash me on. I know I've been limited in reps in training camp. My back's been bothering me. This is going to be a great performance, I predict for him.
Yeah, and I don't expect much different either. I think that it's funny, Raymond, that you brought up in the first thing that you were coming from Micah's college experience. I just wouldn't expect to hear Micah in locker room in a good way.
Oh,
But
jeez.
I just think that
Hey.
I mean it is I think that this is a very this is going to be a bounce back game for Green Bay. They're going to be focused, and I like your point, Joe, about the extracurricular stuff that Micah would do and how it's all been kind of silent recently. But this is a get back game for Green Bay right now against Cleveland. You know, they had that horrible loss to Cleveland. We're talking about this before we went on air that I was kind of grinning ear to ear because I thought I was going to watch back to back the Packers and the Eagles lose the walk off field goals, and of course that smile went away pretty quickly once the
Mm.
Eagles blocked that field goal punt. Investigate the long snapper on Los Angeles, by
Investigate
the
him.
way. Investigate him. Vegas, come on. But yeah, I mean, this is, you know, the Browns obviously aren't known for having the one of the top defenses anymore. They used to about a season, 2 seasons ago. Not really anymore, but one thing that was a big difference is that they have a superstar on their defense that the Cowboys do not have anymore. And Myles Garrett, of course. And so, you know, with this defense just looking like complete buns in the season so far, kind of playing a little bit better against the Eagles. Still really struggled against them in the first half before the rain delay. But you had a quarterback that already has been benched, dominate against us, throw 450 yards in week 2, and then Caleb Williams looking amazing. I think Caleb Williams is a good quarterback. He just has a couple bad decisions every now and then that the Cowboys weren't able to exploit. I think that their defense just has no chance in this game against Green Bay and Jordan Love. We've seen him dice him up, of course, back in 2022 with that playoff game, or I believe 2023 playoffs and the wild card round. So I don't know. I mean, Joe, I'll talk to you first. Do you think that there is any chance for the Cowboys against Green Bay with the Cowboys defense?
Well, now with the news of Zach Tom possibly being out, um, I think that the pass rush could be a little better than expected, but that's been really the weakest point of the team on the front seven. Just there's no pass rush. They can't get to the quarterback, and when they get there, they can't take them down. Now, granted, they played against some really mobile quarterbacks like Caleb just this past Sunday. They played against Jalen Hurts, who they lost to in Philadelphia. It's not always going to be easy. Russell Wilson is not exactly as mobile as he used to be, but he escaped a few pressures here and there in New York, not New York, in Dallas in that game against the Giants.
Mhm.
But when you can't finish plays off and allow the quarterbacks to extend plays, I mean, it's going to kill you every single time. You can't cover receivers that long uh, in a given play. And it's crazy to think that Jordan Love is coming back and sort of like a homecoming thing, even though it's not in Green Bay, because that playoff win that he had where he diced this defense up, that was like that statement saying, I'm here to stay here. I'm the next great Green Bay quarterback. And a lot of people weren't exactly sold, it seemed like, before that. It's me especially. I didn't think he was going to be the guy after Aaron Rodgers finally left and went to the Jets, and he finally had the ball in his hands to be the quarterback of such a legendary franchise. But that game said to a lot of people, "I'm here to stay." So now that he is coming back, doesn't have his right tackle, I think they'll be just fine. I just think that the Cowboys pass rush has to be a little bit better because they've stopped the run much better than I expected this year. Kenny Clark got a little bit banged up this past game, but I think the run defense surprisingly has been one of the best parts of this defense. The pass rush, though, just hasn't been there. If you cannot get to Jordan Love, don't expect this defense to compete at all.
Yeah, and I mean, I agree with that. I think that the run defense has been pretty decent. I just think that, at times, I think that letting DeAndre Swift have that good of a game against us was
Yeah.
not the best, not the best. But I mean, according to the rest of the standards on this defense, I would agree that the run defense has been better than the pass defense.
Yeah.
Trayvon Diggs, you're also under investigation. Raymond, I just want to know from your perspective, knowing that this is kind of the game that you guys look forward to because you guys always kick our ass. I just want to know, like, is there any doubt in your mind that this game is going to go to the Cowboys? Do you think that, do you have that thought looming in your head, or do you think that this is an automatic win for you guys?
Oh man.
I mean, it's easy to say when there's only three guarantees in life, death, taxes, and the Packers beating the Cowboys in
Oh
AT&T.
man. Oh
But
man.
Well, this season, my offensive line really, our offensive line has been the most disappointing group unit so far this season. We have not been able to run the football. all year long, especially when we're paying Josh Jacobs the money that we are paying him. It's he's getting off to a tough start. He lost his touchdown streak last week, so that was a bit unfortunate. Still Packers record holder though, but that was a bit unfortunate. But it's getting to a point where if we can't run the football, one of these games, Jordan Love, he's been doing a good job protecting the football this year, but until up until the last 5 minutes where he threw that terrible interception that ended up costing us the game in the last 5 minutes there against the Browns. But just the offensive line as a whole has not been up to par. And then we really saw that last week when Myles Garrett completely wrecked our game plan and wrecked our entire offensive line. And then another thing that, even though I would say we are contenders, I'm kind of hesitant to say that because we're not disciplined as contenders right now because we're one of the most penalized teams in the NFL right now. Especially we had a league high in penalties last week that came up and ended up biting us in the butt towards the end of the game there. So it's not as I would be hesitant to say that it's an easy expected win, but well, I'll be disappointed if we don't win that game extremely because we have a top five defensive unit. We should be able to go into anywhere and say, hey, we're going to win this game. But from an offensive standpoint, especially our second half offense this season, which has not been really talked about enough, but we've been winning, which now is getting talked about now that we only put up 10 points in last week's game. That our second half offense has been terrible these first 3 games of the season. We have they really struggled to move the ball once the defense comes out at halftime and make adjustments to our offense. Play calling, Matt LaFleur's inconsistency in the second half, especially with third down play calling, has been a question. Has always been a question with him since going back to the Aaron Rodgers days. So little things like that hasn't been able to that hasn't really bitten us in the butt so far this year. I'm afraid that it's going to show up during prime time on Sunday night, especially in a Rockets play, knowing that Michael Parsons is coming back and the crowd's going to be really into it.
Whew,
Yeah, I mean,
chills.
well, look, I mean, the crowd's going to be really into it, but it's going to be majority Packers fans, and that's how we've kind of come to expect at AT&T Stadium. And honestly, I'm fine with it. I think that the team needs to. I don't know what it's going to take for the fans. I mean, even if we boycotted the games, even if no fans showed up to the stadium, I don't think that would move the pen for Jerry Jones to think about making changes and organizational changes. I just think that it's you can't do anything with Jerry. I, I, yeah, I mean, I just think that this is, I'm not looking forward to this game. I'm looking forward more to the Ryder Cup this weekend, to be honest. I think that, look, there's so much, um, emotion that's going to be into this game. And, is it going to side with the Packers or is it going to side with the Cowboys? I think it sides with Green Bay. I think the Cowboys are just so down, especially after these, the tough loss to Chicago. I know that Green Bay just had that tough loss, but I just see them. I have a vision that Green Bay has a better chance of bouncing back from a tough loss like that than the Dallas Cowboys do, especially with us now missing our top receiver and one of the top receivers in the league, somebody who gets 10 targets a game, and usually gets around 100 yards per game, is missing against a secondary that's already had, that's been playing well, and of course a pass rush that's been playing well. So I just think that Dak's going to be in for a long game. But, Jordan Love, of course, does have those problems with turnovers, like we did see against Cleveland, a very untimely turnover, like you mentioned. And if there's any chance that the Cowboys win, it's if they get turnovers on the defensive side. And that's going to be if the Packers can slip up. If they're going to slip up 2 weeks in a row, I'll take it, but I just don't see it happening, obviously. So, um, but yeah, moving on to prop bets real quick. Raymond, you can stay on the show for the prop bets, obviously. We're gonna talk mostly Cowboys prop bets, but these first two are gonna be about the game first. So the first one I want to say is, do you think that the Cowboys, anyone can answer first, but we got the spread right now currently at Green Bay at 6.5 points. Do you think that the Packers cover or the Cowboys cover this game?
I say the Cowboy. I mean, I say the Packers cover. I think this is if my
Okay.
score prediction is right, I see the Packers winning by the score 28-14, two touchdowns. A little slight easy day. Nothing really major. It might look like might have been competitive on the score sheet, on the scorecard, but if you look at sort of watch the game, it's one of those dominating, gritty performances. So I think the Packers cover here.
Are you saying the Cowboys complete a fake comeback? Is that what I'm hearing right now?
The fake DFW
Mm,
comeback.
The fake fake
mm.
DFW comeback at this point, yeah.
The greatest garbage time quarterback of all time, man.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Okay. All
I
right, all
can't
right.
say I disagree too much with what Ray is saying. Like, this should be an easy cover for Green Bay, to be honest. I think they win, like he said, by two touchdowns. I say 31-17. That's how I look at it. This defense, they just can't stop anything, man. And I wish they could. They can't generate turnovers like we saw in the Dan Quinn era. I say 31-17, easy cover for the Packers.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I want to say that this game is going to be closer than it is. I think it's going to be, I originally kind of thought 31-20, so we're kind of on the same page here, Joe. But, with the Cowboys just, again, losing CD and having the struggles already to score against good defenses and not even, average defenses with Chicago last week. I just don't know. And I think that the Packers are guaranteed over 30 points in this game. I
Oh,
will
easy.
definitely say that. Can the Cowboys even get to 14 is going to be my question. I don't know. I think that this is a cover for Green Bay. But moving on, I'm going to go over under 47 and a half points. You guys think that that goes over or under? I mean, we kind of already explained
Yeah.
it.
Mhm. I I had mine slightly under, so yeah, I'm gonna stick with it.
Yeah, I had mine 31-17, so I guess slightly over for me.
Yeah, let's see if it's a bad beat by Brendan Aubrey, 70-yard field goal as time expires. Hey, get it over.
Our
Um,
best player, yes.
yeah, sure. I mean, I'll say slightly over. I think that the Packers, of course, cover most of that. I hate being so depressing about this, Raymond. I'm sorry. I wish we could talk smack, but it's like
Yeah.
seriously, like this is just a unfortunate game for the Cowboys, an unfortunate time. Um, So the next one I got is Dak Prescott passing yards at 237 and a half yards right now. Do you guys think that Dak will cover that or not?
I
Raymond.
think he covers. I think he covers. It's signature Dak. Like I think Dak going to the fourth quarter might have around 150, 160, and then typically the Packers at that point we like to play a bunch of off coverage. So I think Dak gets a chunk of those yards in the fourth quarter. So yeah, I think Dak covers there.
I think that's fair. And I think just the last quarter and a half is where he'll get a chunk of that. That pressure is going to be dangerous for him in those first few stages of the game. And to get off some clean throws as he might see against the Giants. I think that he can get most of that, and I think he'll cover it fairly easy. I think 250 yards passing is very fair.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 50-50 on this. I'm gonna lean slightly under here, and that's because I do think you brought a good point, Raymond. It kind of makes me want to change my answer, but look, Dak's at 40. I expect them to get like probably 40-ish attempts here, maybe even go to 50, because I think they will be playing down. Depends if they get down too much and he gets benched again. But in that first half, I think with the game still being within reach. I think it's just going to be too tough to get any long plays. Because I think that it's going to be I think that with the pressure, it's going to be he's going to have to do a lot of quick throws, a lot of quick action. CD obviously is his main deep threat. Maybe Turpin, Tolbert, or Pickens gets a play that goes for 30, 40 yards, and that helps it. But I'm going to lean under. But anyways, we have a few more, but I do know that Raymond has to get out of here soon. He's got class. We're all busy college students, so I really appreciate your time, Raymond, coming in and talking some Cowboys Packers. Meant a lot, and appreciate your analysis.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. Anytime, anytime. I would love to come on here again. Hopefully, if you guys can maybe pick it up and we meet, and especially if the Packers meet expectations, we can meet in the playoffs again. And we already know how that result's going to happen,
I
but
don't know if I want a playoff match against the Green
Oh
Bay
yeah,
Packers. I don't think
and
I don't think I want that, Ray.
maybe we get a Spurs Mavs play-in matchup later in
Yeah,
this
we need
NBA
that.
season.
Spurs Mavs.
yeah. All right, well, you guys have a good one.
Yeah, you too.
You
Thank you,
too.
Raymond. But we're gonna move on to the next two ones that we have. Brendan Aubrey. This one's an interesting one, okay? Brendan Aubrey, PATs made. All right. 1.5. Basically saying, do you think
This is
we're scoring two touchdowns or not?
this is a tricky one. Because I didn't even factor you said PAT right there. I thought you said
Oh, I
just,
said PAT.
oh man. I mean, surely they can get two touchdowns against the Packers, right? Two? That's
You
not
think so?
crazy to ask for.
I think so too. I think so too.
I think they can
I
get
think they
that.
go over. I think
That's
they go
over.
over, but man, if they don't get those two touchdowns, I wouldn't be surprised at all. But I think that makes it. I think he does. Last one I have, wide receiver number one now, George Pickens. Only at 57.5 receiving yards on the game. Do you think this is over or under?
I don't think he's getting locked down like that. I mean, he's clearly going to be the number one. I think he can get over easily. He's going to get fed this game. He and Jake Ferguson are getting fed.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I just don't see how. I mean, I'm gonna be pretty confident, no doubt, that he gets over 57.5 yards. I think he gets at least five or so catches in this game, especially again. I think we're gonna be trailing late, gonna be using the pass game a lot more often. I think Pickens goes over 57.5, despite me saying Dak's going under on his passing yards. But that's going to be it for the Cowboys talk. That game's going to be on Sunday Night Football on NBC at 7:20 if you dare to tune in. But we're going to move on to the Texas Rangers, which unfortunately doesn't get much better than the
Boy, boy,
other
boy.
team in Arlington. Currently on an 8 game losing streak. We don't know the result to the Wednesday night game against Minnesota, but as we all know, it does not matter anymore, as they just got eliminated from postseason contention. They kind of did after the Houston series, but after Houston got swept by the Mariners after that, you could kind of see that maybe they could have had a chance to still fight for it if they would have swept the Marlins, but the Marlins swept the Rangers. And so that makes it 8 straight losses now, 8 straight losses since Adolis Garcia also came back.
Oh,
Coincidence or not, I don't know,
oh man.
but yeah, it's been pretty rough, hasn't it?
Yeah, I was literally just about to bring that up. I mean, you know, hashtag noticing, as we say in one of our group chats. But yeah, like I love Adolis, but isn't it just weird how this guy was gone all of a sudden when he comes back? Like this team can't play baseball anymore. Like
Just
what in
lost
the
its
world
fire.
happened? What in the world happened? This team needed one win. And we touched on this a little bit last week because it was in the middle of the Lone Star Series, the final one of the year. Just
Hmm.
needed one win to clinch the Lone Star boot for the year, which they haven't done in almost a decade. Still couldn't do it. Everybody chasing anything, every pitch in the dirt. You know, you can't stop runners in scoring position. And it hurts not having Nathan Eovaldi because he's been gone for such a while now. But
Yeah.
the pitching just didn't show up. The starting pitching didn't show up, which has been good pretty
Yep.
much all year long, and it just wasn't good in Houston again. And you can't even beat Miami at home, man. Just it's already been over. You said it last week when I asked you. I asked if is there a chance this team can make the playoffs. You said it was over last week. So props to you for seeing the vision ahead because yikes, this team, it's been a microcosm of the whole year the past 2 weeks. Just right there, getting hot, making you think they have a chance to make a late playoff push, and then just flat out pissing down their leg.
Yeah, and they definitely pissed down their leg. Might have been a little bit of number two down that leg too, maybe team
Yeah.
high, but they really messed it up. I'm gonna ask you a quick question though. I mean, this team just doesn't seem to have a lot of life. Um, the veterans of the team, haven't been able to make the change culturally to kind of show that they are a motivated team, a team that can have fun. With the injuries to Young Rascals, they made the team fun. They made it look like a good culture, but throughout this whole season and throughout the last part, there's just a lot of culture problems, it seems like. Bochy just doesn't seem like he's been expressing disappointment in the team until just recently. Do you think that this is, a need for change? In the manager spot, in the with the players. Where do you think this change needs to happen, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned culture right there. Some people can have to just lose their jobs, I think. I mean, that's the only way, right? Like some people just cannot be coming back this year, and we'll get to that in a few minutes. But yeah, I mean, there's a report from Jeff Wilson who's been working with, DLS Sports, Dallas Sports, basically. And Jeff Wilson has, a good amount of sources, and he's basically been saying that Marcus Simeon has tried to get the team to hang out together, and nobody comes. And, if that isn't the story of how this team doesn't seem like they really enjoy each other, I don't know what else is. After that 2023 title, it seems like everybody just got complacent in the organization. They just thought that they've all arrived and that they're a dynasty maybe, and that's, you know, time for them to settle. If y'all are not just, more of a family like you seem with this little rascals thing right there, those guys who are hungry to get in the league and stay, you're not going to see it reflected on the field, I guess, when your veterans are actually out there playing. And you see with Adolis Garcia, he leaves it out there in the field sometimes, but just it doesn't reflect in some of these plate appearances. And Corey Seager and some of these older guys in the team, it's just like, do these guys enjoy playing anymore? Do they enjoy being around each other? Do you see them smiling a lot? Do you see them enjoying like actually playing Rangers baseball? To me, I don't know if I do, honestly. And it's reflected the entire year for the majority of it. And it's a shame this has happened that you win a title in the other two seasons following it. You won't even sniff the postseason. It's pretty pitiful. And I can't tell you that I expected that after they won the World Series in 2023.
Yeah, and I mean, you talk about that, the 2023 World Series. It was a young squad. It was a bright and hopeful future that we had ahead of us with Evan Carter, who has not really even seen the batter's box too much in these last 2 years since the World Series. With Josh Young, with Wyatt Langford coming up, we had drafted him that year, and just of course having that core of Corey Seager and Marcus Simeon and Adolis Garcia, who have been with the team for just a little bit and were the people that, the leadership roles, and they had fulfilled that. They were playing really well, obviously, and we just haven't seen the same from any of those young guys that we were hopeful about and any of the leadership players that we have kind of learned to love from that World Series run. And that's why it's hard to be so, harsh about them because it's, Dolis Garcia gave me the best moments in all my sports life. I mean, I didn't
Yeah.
witness 2011, NBA championship. I didn't witness any of that. I witnessed the 2011 World Series, and that was really painful as a really young kid. And so seeing that 2023 team win it all, it was very emotional for me, and I was very happy to see, Adolis Garcia be that person, be that hero, that sports hero for me. And so it's hard for me to say that, you know, that it's time to move on. But it just feels like you have to. There just has to be big changes because I don't want to say we're the most disappointing team in the MLB. I think that actually goes to the Orioles for what they did. But there's one thing, the difference between the Orioles and the Rangers is that the Orioles didn't win a World Series 2 years ago. But
Yeah, they've been one
yeah,
since the 80s.
yeah, they had the better regular season records than us in the last 2 years, and they failed miserably this year. That's why I say they're a bigger failure. The Rangers at least had a fighting chance, but the Rangers, other than the Orioles, I think they're the most disappointing team in all of the MLB in these last 2 seasons, specifically this season. You needed that bounce back year because now I mean, it just looks pitiful. The Diamondbacks are in the same boat as us. They haven't been able to make it back to the postseason. They have kind of been mediocre in the regular season these last 2 years. And it kind of just, it doesn't take away from the 2020 World Series at all for me, but it does just disappoint me a little bit as like, man, it doesn't feel like we beat the best to win, but I'm just happy that we got that moment, but very crushed that I've kind of came to the conclusion that it is time to move on.
Yeah, and I love Bruce Bochy, but yeah, it's time, man. And it's not a terrible thing for him. The guy is clearly decorated. He clearly has won 4 championships. He'll be in Cooperstown inevitably. And he was enjoying retirement with his grandkids when he got that call with Chris Young. I mean, you came back to win a World Series in that first season of your return. That's an accomplishment in itself. It's nothing crazy. It's just sometimes things just wear out, and it might be time just to go your separate ways, and maybe put a younger guy right there who maybe is uh, more adept to the current game, and it's changing as you just saw ABS is finally enacted in the game.
Yeah.
There's some challenges this year that I just didn't make sense for Bruce Bochy. There's some moves he's made with the bullpen that just did not make sense at the time, like putting in Robert Garcia when he shouldn't have been put in.
Yeah.
A lot of guys in the late bullpen who didn't need to be there, after a few weeks. I think it's time to bring in a fresh voice, and that's nothing wrong for the team, especially when you lose two straight postseasons, have two straight postseasons where you just miss after winning a title. So I think it's due time.
Yeah, I think it is time for a fresh start. You wish that somebody would come in here and just be consistent. There hasn't been a manager that's stayed more than 2, 3 seasons since Ron Washington did. Jeff Bannister, of course, was kind of quick on his way out after he failed in his first, he made it to the playoffs in the first 2 years, and after that, kind of disappeared after a year or two. And then Chris Woodward also was a short-term guy, kind of there for the rebuild. And then, but you kind of want somebody like Chris Woodward to go out there and be that fiery person,
Yeah,
the
he
young
had
the young
fire.
voice, um, that unfortunately Bochy just does not have. So. I mean, again, tough to come to this conclusion, but I think this team needs a massive turnover on its roster, on its manager positions. Of course, if you fire Bruce Bochy, you're probably, or if he doesn't come back, you're probably losing Mike Maddox, which is going to be a big loss, though. And you might lose Aaron Boone as well, who has kind of seen a little slight improvement in hitting since he came here, just a slight improvement, but still awful, awful hitting, awful offense these last 2 seasons. Definitely this season. Brett Boone, sorry, I said Aaron Boone, didn't I? Um, but yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and end this episode here. Wait, quick question: Do you, as a fan of the Rangers and knowing that the kind of the fate of the Astros making it to the playoffs comes down to us losing or us beating Cleveland, do you want us to lose this series to Cleveland, or do you?
So rest everybody. Rest them all. Everybody shut them down in the year. Shut them all down. Don't even worry about trying to win that series.
Wouldn't you want to, like, actually what I'm saying is activate them. Activate Simeon, activate Seager. All those, activate Evan Carter, the ones that have been at, Seager's maybe not, but activate Simeon. All right, activate him. Get Jock Peterson batting leadoff. You know, make sure that you just have get first half Ezekiel Duran back out there, and we are good, man. We are losing those games in Houston. All in vain for sweeping us. They don't make it either. I would love us to lose
Yeah,
and get swept by Cleveland this weekend. But,
hilarious.
anyways, that'll do it for this episode. Thank you so much for, again, making this Thursday morning or whenever you're watching us. Decided to take the time to watch us. I appreciate it. You can follow us or subscribe, like, share, anything like that on YouTube or Spotify, if you dare, on Spotify, at the 214 Sports Show. And you can also follow us on our socials where we post extra analysis, polls, stuff like that, at 214 Sports Show, which is on Instagram, Twitter/X, and TikTok. And then Joe, you go ahead.
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Joseph_Duffy99, or you can follow me on TikTok at JOE_Duffy.
You can follow me on Twitter/X at TJ underscore and Instagram at TJ or TJ underscore Krilowicz, and then Instagram at TJ.Krilowicz. We'll have all those links in the description below. We again really appreciate you joining us today, and we'll see you for episode 87 of the 214 Sports Show next week.